The shenanigans.
Good morning. It's Monday. Welcome to Open Mic.
Feels like a Monday.
Oh my
Jeez. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Open Mic with Allie and Michelle. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
we're fine. We're just unhinged this morning. Too much coffee, not enough sleep. Apparently all our guests are sad. It's a day.
Well, and we do have a lot of things that we're breaking here. Why? Because people tend to call us, Allie, when there's something going on that nobody else will report on. And we pride ourselves on being the ones that will break that news nationwide to you guys, the stories that you really need to hear about. We're going to hear from Erin Lee, who is a parent who's getting her parental rights really taken away. What I love is that she's from the free state of Florida, so she knows all about parental rights. She then moved with her husband to Colorado, and her rights are being infringed on as well as others. So we'll have her on later. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit.
Blocking MAGA voices. What? That's happening?
It happened to us. With that first MAGA voice that they were like, okay, these ladies.
It's literally happening everywhere. So we're going to have Michael Casey on along with Kevin Smith, who were there. And they're going to give their side of the story.
What I love about this is it takes place, and of course we'll get to it in a little bit, but it takes place with the young Republicans. Yeah. We always say we need to get the young people involved. So they did. They went to a convention, and then like the MAGA voices were silenced. So
and you wonder all that DC got so swampy. Happens in your own backyard. All right, you guys, keep that mic open. We're ready to go.
To where we started, we're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do? They try to cancel you. MAGA Nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love God, but in Trump I trust. November 5th, you gon' ride with us. Our red hat stays on. Our red hat stays on. It's the mayor MAGA, but the RNC King. 2024 freedom gon' ring. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat on.
Sorry, I'm texting in the chat. I gotta open the chat.
Open the chat. Oh
guys,
my gosh.
Make sure you comment below. Let us know where you're joining from. Welcome Spotify audience, our Rumble audience, our Facebook audience, Instagram audience, TikTok, all of you. We're grateful.
And YouTube for the time being. We haven't.
I don't know
anybody off yet. So we're excited to be here. Allie, if I could just preface this first story that we're gonna break to you. Okay, so imagine for a moment, okay? Imagine. Allie and I take a road trip to Orlando because our Republican Party of Florida is having their quarterly meeting, and we would like to know why MAGA, America First type patriots in the Republican Party were being expelled.
Specifically, the FRA. What is the FRA?
The Florida Republican Assembly. See, we have more than one Republican club in a lot of states, just like Florida, and I like to play with everybody, so I like to be a part of both. That didn't sound good, but to be a part of both clubs.
All the things.
And our Republican Party said, no, you can't. And they made us persona non grata. We got escorted off the premises.
For simply just being there. That was it.
And we thought that was just in Florida, really.
We didn't, nothing. We were just there.
We were very well behaved.
Very well.
We shook hands with them. We were very nice. Fast forward to this weekend when the Young Republicans Club throughout all of the nation, they gathered in Nashville. How wonderful to be there in Nashville, right? This was probably something that they were very excited of. A lot of them do fundraising so they can come here. This is where your older high school and college students, we try to get them involved in the political realm so that we have a bench when it's time to elect new people. So they go, Allie, and the MAGA America First voices are quenched once again.
Not just from Florida. And not just from Staten Island, New York.
Wow.
It was also from Nevada. Lots of places. Guys, this is happening literally everywhere. So joining us today, we have Michael Casey, Kevin Smith. Welcome, you guys. They were actually there, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Yes. Did you want to talk about?
Yeah, so I want to show this. Krista, in the tech booth, if we could just show the first post. So this is what took place. They were learning that Trump supporters were being blocked at this convention. So what they're trying to vote for is who's going to be the chair of the national Young Republicans.
Right.
And so obviously all of these different states and all the different members should be allowed to vote. But what's happening is certain states were not being allowed to vote. Let's see if we can bring on Michael Casey first. Michael, welcome to Open Mic. Can you tell us a little bit about, because you were there, what did you witness being done?
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. It was a very interesting convention, and unlike Kevin Smith, I was actually allowed on the convention floor, so I got a little bit farther than he did. But it was a very, very long meeting. It was about close to 9 hours, I think, around that time. People first lined up at 7 a.m. and we didn't finish until around 3 or 4 p.m. So it was a very long meeting when it didn't have to be. So I'll set the stage. Essentially, a number of state delegates were not admitted to the convention, and they had their credentials revoked for various reasons, for various technical reasons, allegedly, according to the YRs. They had the incumbent slate, the Grow YR slate, which is seen as the more establishment wing of the party, the more bushy kind of business as usual slate. Then you had the Restore YR slate, led by Peter Gunta, that was supported by Roger Stone, Scott Presler, Ryan Fournier, Turning Point Action with Tyler Boyer. A lot of the more grassroots wing of the party, a lot of the more MAGA wing of the party, seen as the hardcore Trump supporters, like the New York Republicans and many others, which Kevin is a member of. And so once admitted there, the state of Nevada was the biggest case of this, where they had nearly their entire delegation revoked. They went from having 12 delegates to just 4, and they're expected just to go along with it. And so there's Peter Gunta, after the Restore YR slate, essentially led a little bit of a coup on the floor to try and make motions to get these delegates back in their voting rights. And so that took a number of hours. That Peter Gunta's team essentially won the first round of voting. They got their initial vote passed to get Nevada's voting rights restored. They all their delegates back. But then they had to do a second vote of it. There's a lot of motions, point of orders, and everything. So they had to do an appeal and everything, and all this. A lot of Robert's rules, mumbo jumbo stuff. It's hard to follow. But they kept the vote. They got when the vote happened, the second vote, they were tabulating the results on a spreadsheet, for a Google Excel sheet, for about 2.5 hours. They were taking like an hour. We were all just sitting there in a room, all like 1,000 of us, just sitting there watching and waiting. And then they sent us on an hour-long lunch and a half an hour bathroom break and everything. And you could say that you're the most incompetent team in the world, meaning they couldn't use an Excel spreadsheet and mess up the math on that. It takes probably like 2 to 5 minutes to fix. Or what they were actually doing was going around intimidating certain state delegations, having their leadership go around maneuvering, making deals. They like to think they're like at a House vote on C-SPAN where they're negotiating with congressmen.
Wow.
The mafia.
Yeah, a lot of states were strong-armed and intimidated. A lot of states that are originally with Peter Gunta were, a lot of them were threatened. There's a lot of allegations of blackmail. The Michigan delegates. This is I don't have confirmed proof of this. It's just a rumor that was going around the floor.
Right.
I was not a delegate myself. I just was there as
Michael, let me just back up and explain to our audience, because most people are not aware of YRs or what they are. It's Young Republicans. We have them throughout the country. Usually every county has a chapter, sometimes every county, at least throughout your state. This is obviously a convention where the delegates are all coming together. There's 2 different slates that you're voting for, right? You've got, and obviously all Republican, obviously, but allegedly, but you've got 2 different slates. So there's 2 different visions of how do we want this Young Republicans group to go. One was obviously much more of a, I guess you could say, Bush establishment led driven. And the other one was very, very America first, MAGA, new blood. I mean, when you speak about the fact that Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk were behind us.
Scott Presler of all. I mean,
these are all people that are tied very closely to Donald Trump. So you can see, even within the Young Republicans throughout our nation, there is a divide. And what you're seeing is really what I'm hearing there's really some shenanigans happening with the voting. This wouldn't be the first time this has happened. We've had this at our local Republican Party chapters here in Sarasota. We've seen it even at the state level sometimes. And a lot of these, you have to wonder, Michael, and I want to bring on Kevin too, why are we seeing this happen right now in the Young Republicans? Are young people becoming so important that this is like the new battleground within the Republican Party?
Yeah, well, essentially every wing of the party now is a battleground. I think people, conservative and MAGA patriots, were starting to rise up now and realize it's not just winning the presidency, which obviously is very important. It's about taking back every single institution in the Republican Party, including the Young Republican wing, which, speaking of what they do, I guess you could call into question, because I'm not really sure what the national organization has done over the past several years. The current leadership there, whether they were establishment or not, they really have not done anything to impress me. They like to tout certain things here and there. And if they held a fair convention, doesn't matter if they won or lost. I was just there as not as delegate, but just as a guest, as an
Right.
observer. But a lot of people felt in the Restore YR slate, the Peter Gunta slate, that the current leadership doesn't really do anything. That
Let
there's
me
no
ask you-
real ground game.
Yeah, let me ask you, Michael, because we do have, Krista, if we could skip forward, there is a short clip of, I believe, Chairman Hayden Paget. He is threatening to kick out. This is like, obviously an uproar. So, if your vote's not going to get counted or you're not going to get a chance to vote, people on the floor usually stand up and kind of say something. I want to play this quick video, and then I want to get to Kevin Smith as well. Roll this quick video.
You out of the room. It's your motion, not me. We'll go to a vote. All in favor of adjournment.
All right, let's bring in, bring it back here. We'll bring in Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin Smith joining us. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. Tell us your take on what took place at the Young Republicans Convention.
Michelle, it's so funny that you say a lot of people have never heard of the Young Republicans, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason everyone watching this has heard of Turning Point USA, and that is because there is a divide in the party and in the young movement in this country between the do-nothings and the do-somethings. And the Young Republicans are the do-nothings, and Turning Point USA is the do-somethings. And it's a shame because, there are a lot of people out there who don't have access to Turning Point USA the way the four of us do. We're all ambassadors for Turning Point USA. You guys had a booth at the Student Action Summit. If you're from a small town in America, you don't have access to the sort of influencer network like that. So you join your Young Republican chapter. And under this current leadership, under the BLM supporting Hayden Paget, they do not motivate young people to a point where they can actually do the work that they want to do. I was discussing with Michael Casey before. New Jersey's got the most competitive race in America this year. The National Young Republicans have no presence there. They have no boots on the ground, yet I'm paying $27 in tolls and sitting in 4 hours worth of traffic to get down the shore to register voters with Scott Pressler, who lives in Pennsylvania, to win the state of New Jersey. And it's a shame. It really is, because the hardest part of our world is building infrastructure, is having those chapters in Alaska, in Hawaii, in Puerto Rico, in small towns in Minnesota. And they have that. And this organization could be great. It really could be. And it was going to be great under Peter Junta. Like, Peter's a good friend of mine. He had the hardest job in politics, juggling the New York State Party with people like me and Gavin Wax, the MAGA people who kind of do whatever the hell we want and don't really follow rules, as you would say. We don't really wait our turn. But so he had the hardest job in politics, and I think he would have been great at it. And unfortunately, many of the people around the country really, really missed out with this. And it is because we watched, and Michael Casey, he was there to see it. We watched people fight over the smallest throne in America. And there's a reason why Turning Point Action is on every college campus, and why the Federation of College Republicans is virtually nothing, why the Young Republicans are almost nothing, why we don't get any help from them. It's a shame. It really is. And because, like I said, it could be great, but it just isn't.
And Kevin, part of what I know they're coming out and saying now is that, there was an attempt to listen. We should just unify. And this is a ploy that the establishment politicians always do. First, they drag you through the mud,
Right?
And then they say, "Oh, let's just shake hands and unify." Take a look.
I got a plan for them. Okay, why don't you unify with us?
Right.
Not the other way around. Like,
that part.
It's like, think about your marriage, your relationship. Honey, the relationship would just be so much better if you just did what I said. How's that going to go over in marriage counseling?
Not great. Not great.
Never, I'm not.
But I get your point, though. That's funny.
But listen to this. I want to make sure we show this. This is a bingo card that one of the slates put out. You tell me, guys, America, take a look. Krista, if we could skip just a few assets to the bingo card. This was put out, okay, so, and it says YRNF idiot bingo card. This is from the, as I understand it, Chairman Hayden Paget, who is running again. His slate put this out in in a way to slander, I guess, Peter, who's the other guy that was running. This does not look like unification, does it? Calling them names and playing an idiot bingo card. I mean, it's funny,
Well,
but it's not unifying.
No, it's not. And this is how you get Mike DeWine in the state of Ohio, because people like this do stuff like that. The Ohio Y, I'm sure there's nice people there, and I'm sure they think they're doing a great job because they rode the Trump wave. But there's a lot of people there that think that because they're in red states, they're actually doing something, and they're not. I'm sorry, if you're from Idaho, you're not a Republican state because you worked your ass off. You're a Republican state because there are no Democrats. Like, come into New York, where we flipped 5 congressional races in 2022.
Amen.
Come to California, where they flipped 3. Like, you
Right.
want to work, do it in LA, do it in Atlanta, do it in Detroit. Don't do it in the panhandle of Florida. I love the panhandle. Don't get me wrong. A lot of friends
know.
there. But it's not hard to win as a Republican there. And I think there's a
Right.
lot of people who started on third base who think they hit a triple.
Mm. I love that,
That's a
Kevin.
baseball
So
analogy.
good.
It's just so good. And one of the things I know, because we interviewed you in Tampa at the convention center there, Kevin, one of the things I love that you said is that you are staying in your area because you want to double down. You're helping New Jersey, New York. You're not just fleeing to Florida like a lot of other people are. What I want to ask both of you, I want to give both of you a chance to speak on this. What is going to happen from here on out?
Yes,
So, because a lot of us get frustrated with Republican Party politics. And I think part of the hope is that we'll get frustrated and we'll leave, or you get frustrated like Allie and I, and you double down and find another alternative. So what is your goal? What is your call to action, I guess, to our viewers?
I would tell people that if you want to get involved, be the leader of the movement you want to see. Don't wait for young Republicans to get involved. Don't wait for your parties, your county committees, a bunch of 68-year-old men who think they're important because there's some town councilman in a town nobody's ever heard of. Go out, be the leader be the leader of the movement you want to happen. We're going to celebrate 250 years of 50 some odd guys getting together in Philadelphia and just deciding to change the world. They didn't wait. They didn't ask permission. They just did it. So you know what? If your local party's not doing it, you do it.
Right.
That's what we did out here, and we saw the real results.
Love it. What about you, Casey?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what Kevin said. And when you see these corrupt actions happen at organizations, like you showed the video that I posted and the bingo card that I posted, when you see that, just record everything and just take pictures of everything and expose it. You can post it anywhere, show what's going on inside. Don't let it be a closed door meeting. That was at the very end when they tried to throw people out. That was just a number of delegates made a motion to try and release the results spreadsheet to see what the results looked like and what the formula they're using to calculate them. There's just pure transparency. They made a legitimate motion, and instead of entertaining it or allowing a debate on it or allowing an actual roll call vote on it, the chairman said, "Oh no!" And it told them to stop, and or going to kick them out. And they started, chanting roll call, and he yelled at them and freaked out, and then adjourned the meeting unilaterally. That's just pure political malice and everything, shutting down MAGA voices. There is some delegates in Michigan who claim that their hotels guy like apparently they're there on a kind of a grant program type thing. This is all allegedly, but they alleged that allegedly their rooms were charged to them after they started supporting Peter Gunta. Other states alleged that they were being threatened. E-board members were threatened with removal if they supported Peter. People were threatened with fines from the young Republican chapters. A lot of this is hearsay and allegations. I can't verify all these, but just these types of allegations, there's too many for them to all be bogus, essentially. And it doesn't surprise me at all. These old guard institutions take it so seriously. They take little institutions like the YRs, which really should not be taken as seriously as it is, given how little they do currently. And that's like it's a speaker's vote to the RNC. It's a lot of people who just fight over just scraps, essentially, when they could be such a great bold institution, as Kevin said. You don't see this kind of fighting at turning point events over leadership positions.
Well, and I know a lot of what you're talking about at this event this past weekend, Michael, is alleged, but we can speak firsthand. Allie and I, the reason we're sitting here in front of you today is because we've completely been ostracized, muted, and kicked out just for wanting to be a vocal member of the Republican Party, but not kiss the brass ring, if you know what I'm saying. So I thank you guys for what you continue to do. Let our viewers know, because you guys are, especially, I love Kevin. I follow you. I wasn't always following you on social media. And Allie was like, you got to follow Kevin. You guys are amazing to follow because of what you're doing. Kevin, let our viewers know where they can find you, and Michael as well.
The best way to follow me is on X, Kevin_Smith45. That's where I do most of my ish talking, which I've been doing to Hayden a lot for the last couple of weeks. It's not shocking that I was kicked out of the convention when I posted a video of him supporting BLM,
Jeez.
and crying.
Well, we're gonna
over
blast that out too. So
Oh yeah, well, he's hey, look, I guess, I guess there's some people in the world who feel one way, and then there's people like us who feel the right way. So
I love that. And how about
what
how
about you, Michael?
Michael?
Well, first off, unlike Kevin, I was allowed in the room. I was able to sneak in, so he's not as sneaky as I am. So I guess the
That's why we
undercover
call you
journalism-
Scout.
Exactly.
Mike, I'm a lot bigger than you, bro.
The undercover journalism taught me well. So you can find me at Michael Casey _ on X. That's the place to follow me, and I share a lot of Kevin Smith's content. So if you like Kevin Smith, just follow me.
And Kevin, I mean, Michael is amazing too. So make sure you guys follow both of them and keep your eye open. Oh my gosh, this is an incredible.
I feel like we're going to be working more and more with you, gentlemen.
more
in the
together,
future.
yeah, for sure.
Let's
Thanks
do
for
it.
joining us, guys.
Appreciate it.
God bless
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, Allie.
Crazy is that?
So, okay, can we get
We
into a
were
little
right.
crazier? We were. Let me just get a little crazier. Okay, so
Let's go.
after we were kicked out by
Yeah.
the head of the Republican Party of Florida, the chairman Evan Power, and he kicked out 2 state committeemen, didn't allow them to
They
be
were
able to
duly
vote.
elected, by the way.
Didn't allow them to vote at our. He then has the audacity to post this. Krista, can we get the post from Evan Power up on the screen? Look at this. He's complaining about the fact that the young Republicans didn't allow Florida delegates to be able to vote. Did you ever comment on this?
I did not, and
Publicly?
I really should.
Oh.
I wanted to just
I wanna be
comment
like,
with
really?
like the laughing emoji.
Like, you don't let people vote. Yeah, he blocked me. I can't.
The audacity. I'm surprised he still follows me and I'm not blocked. Like maybe I'm not doing something right.
I must like you.
I don't
I
know.
must like you more
Who
than.
doesn't like me? I'm just saying. And even if you hate me, you still like me, babe. It's okay.
Oh, dear God. Guys, you do not want to go anywhere. We have our next guest that's coming up after the commercial break is going to speak to, you think parental rights are a thing that should be God-given and everybody understands it. Not so in states like Colorado. You don't want to miss this. Keep it locked here to Open Mic with Allie and Michelle. We'll be right back after this message.
Gold IRA companies are a dime a dozen, especially in conservative media. We vetted out 34 companies and chose Augusta Precious Metals.
With the lowest across-the-board spreads in the gold IRA industry, Augusta saves Americans thousands of dollars.
They are the only major gold IRA company that has 0 complaints from their customers. 0. None. Augusta Precious Metals does not have commissioned sales reps, which means their goals are aligned with yours.
They were the only gold IRA company that demonstrated integrity and transparency without using gimmicks.
The informative one-on-one web conferences by Augusta Precious Metals answer all of their customers' questions before they make a move.
If you're ready to learn about protecting your wealth and retirement with gold and silver, request your free gold guide from Augusta Precious Metals today.
Visit patriot.tv/gold. That's patriot.tv/gold today.
All right, welcome back here to Open Mic with Allie and Michelle. We are checking out some of the comments we have here on Facebook. I know Mike is saying good morning. Mike, you always make us smile with your good morning first thing in the morning. On Rumble, listen, on the Patriot TV channel, Smiley NSB is really talking about the fact that we don't want, people are kind of tired of volunteering for the same old Republican or even I would assume the Democrat Party too. It's almost like the grassroots movements are only used during times of election and then they don't want to hear from us.
Well, they don't push policy. They can actually utilize their efforts, their groups, their members to push policy locally and nationally.
Yeah.
They can use their members to build and those that are hired within to build relationships in order for them to find champions to push specific legislation. None of them do that.
Right.
However, they will always use our grassroots groups, whether it's moms going after introducing them to the mom vote for the first time, Moms for Freedom over here in Florida. We did this in 2015 and literally killed 8 bills that year. And then introduced our representatives to the mom vote in 2020 and won almost every seat in Hillsborough County. But then they take the credit for it.
Yeah.
They don't ever give the credit to us.
Or they kick you out. They ostracize you.
Right.
It's crazy. I want to bring up JN240750 mentioned all of them must stay in session, referring to Thune.
The Senate.
Now saying, listen, the Senate's gonna come, they're gonna stay in session throughout August with the exception of a few dates. But that also doesn't allow, as I understand,
Recession,
Trump to be able to
to get
fast track his
what are those?
his nominees.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But they are staying in session, and that was part of the ask.
But it's strong arming and it's political politics, and that needs to stop because we gave a mandate November 5th, and we demand that every single nominee is given.
Absolutely.
We don't if you can't do that and you drug your feet the first 160 days, right? Why now are you trying to stay in session to rush it forward when none of you are even rushing it forward? You're just dragging your feet even more. And then you're going to get on national news and say, we're not going to do recession appointments. What? Why?
Yeah.
For what?
For what?
Just because you don't want them approved. It's not your opinion. Do your job.
Absolutely.
The American people gave a mandate.
Make sure you guys keep commenting because we love to get reactions to your comments. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe as well. Okay, our next guest, guys, she's getting put in the hot seat because she just wants to have a say on what not only what our children learn in school, but how about what you're telling my child in an after-school program where I have no idea what kind of, I don't want to say it's propaganda,
rhetoric,
but it is. It's rhetoric,
indoctrination,
and indoctrination. Please welcome to Open Mic, Erin Lee. Erin, thanks for joining us.
In a place where you, oh, sorry.
Good to see you.
Place where you think your children are safe in an after-school program, you heard and found out this. Tell our audience what you found out.
Yes.
Yeah, we 4 years ago sent our barely 12-year-old daughter off to school. It was a regular Tuesday. We thought she was staying after school for an art club, but it was actually a secret GSA, or Gender and Sexuality Awareness Club, also known as the Gay Straight Alliance. And her trusted art teacher brought in these outside, really predators. You're right. It is indoctrination. It's propaganda. Mm-hmm. And they taught her, if you're not completely comfortable in your body, that means you're transgender. And if you don't know who you're sexually attracted to, that means you're queer. And they taught her
at 12, Erin? At 12.
Barely 12, a very innocent 12. And this was the height of COVID. We had just moved across the country from Sarasota, Florida to here in Northern Colorado. And she was so vulnerable. I mean, they did things like teaching explicit concepts like polyamory, telling her repeatedly, your parents might not be safe. They're probably not going to accept your new identity. You don't need to tell them about these meetings or about how you're identifying your new name. Her name's Chloe. They taught her that her name is now, or convinced her she's actually Toby, and that she'd been born in the wrong body, and to keep it all a secret from us.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what was your course? I'm still like blown away. Like, you hear about these stories and a lot of times you're like, oh, that can't happen. Or did that really happen?
Or
like
that's just not common sense.
Right. That part too. But when you hear these stories over and over and over and over again, I mean, we've been hearing about this since 2020. I mean, we've kind of blown the whistle here in Florida about it at our school board meetings and things like that, and called, domestic terrorists for doing so, and white supremacists for doing the same thing. It's insane. So what was your course of action to correct this when you found out?
Yeah, I should preface by saying that I was a left-leaning, faithless, like when people go, you're such a right-wing, you're a bigot. I get that all the time. Or you're an extremist. It's like, well, right. I voted for this until I woke up and realized what I had done and what was actually happening. And so we immediately pulled our daughter out. And in doing that, they called Child Protective Services. They involved CPS and sent someone to our home for a well child check, because surely
hold on. Let's dissect this for a second. They sent CPS to your residence because you decided to pull your child from a harmful environment, but they didn't call CPS in the harmful environment.
Right. They sent a mandated reporter. It ended up being the principal in lieu of the CPS. Thank God, because if they had opened a case on my family here in Colorado, I would have lost custody, potentially of all three of my children, because our state has now passed a law that makes it abuse, defines it as abuse, and gives the court license to take your custody away if you will not affirm your child's gender confusion. So we
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, we're just so lucky that we pulled her off what I call the classroom to trafficking pipeline before it got that far.
Oh, gosh. And Aaron, this is, so we hear stories, good friends that have actually moved the opposite direction, right? They've come from California to Florida for a lot of our free parental rights policies. You were, like, as you said, the opposite, right? You moved from Sarasota to Colorado and really didn't always see this issue the way you're seeing it now until it happened with your daughter. Let me ask you, because now the good news is, guys, that this is being appealed, as I understand it, to the Supreme Court, Lee versus is it Powdery School District?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
horrible name. Horrible school district with a horrible name.
how did this type of policy get enacted in a state like Colorado? How did that happen?
Colorado used to be very purple, and I thought I was very libertarian minded, socially left. I thought we would really fit in well. I thought Florida was too conservative for me. Man, am I eating crow now. We got a governor in 2019. There was 4 billionaires who flipped this state. There's a great book called The Blueprint. It's on my bookshelf behind me about how 4 billionaires flipped the state from purple to far left. Very, very blue. And since 2019, they've passed so many laws. They lowered the age of healthcare consent to 12. They made it illegal for a therapist not to affirm a child's gender confusion. They can lose their license and be fined. That's
so
now going
further mental illness. They've allowed therapists who have taken an oath, right, to do no harm, which is like literally the first sentence.
Yeah.
To allow them to further mental illness. What in the world?
Force them. So there's a case, Childs v. Salazar, that will be before the Supreme Court this fall that's challenging this law. It makes them go against everything they learned, which is to help a child through their distress, not push them further into it. It's like when a child says they're anorexic and they go to the therapist and the therapist says, yeah, you're right, you are fat. If you think you're fat, you should throw up your food and take these diet pills. And if your parents don't accept you, then they're abusive parents. That's exactly what's happening here. But they've passed law after law. They mandate teachers to socially transition kids. Again, they made it discrimination. If you dead name or misgender anyone in the state of Colorado, you can be fined $55,000 every time you use the wrong name and pronouns. And that's being used against parents. But I cannot stress enough that this is happening in all 50 states. There are tens of thousands of parents like me going through this. I'm on the other side now. It's been 4 years. My daughter is what we call a desister, where we got her off the conveyor belt before she medicalized, because thank God she was 12 and I was able to keep custody. But that's not the norm. Most kids fall so deeply into this that their parents cannot be public about it, that they're just trying to save their kid. And so when I went public, it was a year after the club. We saved our daughter. We went through the worst year of our life. She, left us a suicide note. It was a dark, scary, very hard year to pull her out of it. When we went public, it went crazy, like Tucker Carlson, Glenn Beck public, and families just started to come out of the woodworks. 5 families in that club alone, none of them knew their daughters had been attending. They all kept the secret that what you hear in here, keep in here. But then, since then, thousands of parents have come to me for support, because this is such a common issue in red and blue states alike. You are not immune in, rural Nebraska from secret school transition, from this kind of indoctrination. It is happening everywhere, not just Colorado.
Oh my goodness, that is so scary. So scary. So what is your, I guess, advice or call to action for parents watching today? And what can we do to help you if we can?
Thank you. The first thing we have to do is educate people. Like you said, people go, that this was an isolated incident, or that's not really happening, which is so infuriating for me. It's like, no, it's not just happening. It's happening to tens of thousands of us, but we've got to talk about it. Thank you for covering this issue, because we've got to normalize the conversation around, you're right, parental rights are inalienable. They are God-given rights. They do not come from the government, but unfortunately, we found ourselves in this position where the government's going to have to affirm them. And I believe that's going to have to happen at the Supreme Court level. There are dozens of cases just like mine. 2 have already been appealed to SCOTUS. I understand there's 2 more coming before they come back for next session. The highest court in the land is going to have to decide once and for all, do parents have a right to direct the custody, care, and upbringing of their own children? Or can the government intervene and act in the interest of our kids, forsaking our rights? The courts are going to have to decide that. So I think we have to expose, we have to fight back with lawfare, and we have to get the kids the heck out of government schools. They're not public schools. They don't work for you. They're government schools. They are there to take control of your children, of your family, to usurp your rights, to indoctrinate our kids into what almost feels like the Red Guard to me at this point. Like they had completely brainwashed my child and she was only 12. We've got to get the kids out of these schools.
I agree.
Wow,
God.
Aaron, your story is heartbreaking. We've heard stories, again, even in a red state like Florida, we've had, this is part of what spawned the parental movement here. Stories just like yours. I want to make sure everybody follows you at Aaron, the number 4 parents on X, because that way we can follow this story. Let us know, what can we do? I mean, I know as parents, I guess your call to action is to really make sure we're involved right where our children are. But what else would you express for our viewers to know or to do in order to help your case?
Yeah, I mean, just spread the word. We actually made a film about what happened to our family. It's available for free on YouTube and Rumble. It's at artclubmovie.com. And I think the most powerful thing people can do is just share that story. And when people go, that's not happening, share it. Have them watch the film, because we include, like, January Littlejohn is in our film.
Yes.
She's a Florida mom. She's in Tallahassee. That is a red part of Florida. Like,
Right.
most of Florida is a red part of Florida, but it's absolutely happening everywhere. And we just have to inform our neighbors about what's happening. And, I encourage parents just to connect with like-minded parents. When this happened to me, I felt like I was alone on an island. And it wasn't until I started to speak out that parents started to come around me and go, me too. Or I agree with you. How can I support you? We as mothers and parents have got to connect with each other, because there's so much strength in numbers. Like, I can't do it alone. But if everyone helps share these stories and just connects with each other and we fight back together, even at the, school board level, at the local level, so much change can happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Your courage is godly, and we pray that you continue to walk in that strength that he has given you to push forward and to keep your children blessed. Thank you so much for joining Open Mic today. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys. We are going to be back with now some of our current events, right?
Yes.
We do have some things that were still happening as we speak throughout the weekend. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked here at Open Mic. We'll be right back after this message.
Do you have enough food to feed your family for several months if the supply chain falls apart? If not, why not?
There is no guarantee that grocery stores or even local farmers will be operating in your area if circumstances change.
The problem is that most survival food sucks. That's why we get long-term storage food from Heaven's Harvest. Their food doesn't suck.
Heaven's Harvest uses all natural ingredients that they freeze dry to maximize taste, nutrition, and shelf life.
They source their foods locally, right here in the United States. They even offer heirloom seeds so you can grow your own food.
It's the kind of food that you and your family could enjoy every day. And the way things are going, that might just happen.
Visit patriot.tv/food. That's patriot.tv/food and use promo code PATRIOT at checkout.
Don't wait. Stock up on long-term storage food today before food prices start rising again.
Stays on, red hat stays on, red hat stays on, red hat stays on.
Crazy.
2 states in the union that you think, as a MAGA America First Republican, you are completely safe living in. 2. No, I'm saying, but if you had
Florida and Texas.
Florida and Texas, you would say, right? Okay, well, we just shot that in the foot about Florida. I mean, Florida's great and all, but we gotta know.
There's room for improvement.
There's some swampy stuff happening. Get this, in Texas, we broke this last week that that Texas was going to vote to reorganize, redistrict their map, right? The congressional districts. States do this over and over again. The thing is,
And
now
Jasmine
we have
Crockett is crying crocodile tears.
She is swamp puppy tears.
Puppy tears.
It's not the only person that's crying tears in Texas because they want to redistrict their congressional map. Listen, Republicans are in power. This is what you call putting the foot on the gas pedal and saying, you know what, let's redistrict a little bit. Let's make sure that we've got the most representatives we can in Washington, D.C. Well, now
they're cracking the whip. Sorry, I had to.
Now there are Democrats in the state of Texas that are fighting Governor Abbott because they're saying, well, if you're going to vote on redistricting the map, we're not going to show up. We're not going to go.
Oh, they're throwing toddler like temper tantrums by utilizing what did they get? $40,000, $50,000? It was $50,000. Okay, so it says the Texas Democrat lawmakers were given a dedicated $40 million jet that costs $15,000 per hour or more to rent. They raised the funds and are having their trip orchestrated by out-of-state actors.
So they're basically going on a paid vacation.
They have all broken quorum, and Governor Abbott put the hammer down, or since it's the South and everybody says the South is racist, he's cracking the whip on the Democrats, okay, and telling them that if you don't show up to work, you're fired. Thank you, Governor Abbott, for actually understanding proper roles of government and utilizing every single tool within your tool belt for the position that you've been granted to serve in.
Because,
thank you, sir.
Allie, what happens when they redistrict, just like here in Florida, we're hoping they continue forward with that, and we pick up more seats in the House. I mean, this is exactly what we need. And that states like California, due to recensusing, not being able to use illegals in the census, which you would think is a normal thing, obviously, but it wasn't up until recently, they might lose seats. Then you have states like California not being the powerhouse that they think they are when they don't represent the voices across the nation. This is exciting. We'll keep it tuned not only to what's happening in Texas, but here in the state of Florida. Governor DeSantis, we're behind you. Let's get this done.
Yes, so Jasmine Crockett is crying. She's talking that they lost numbers because since they implemented ID requirements for voting, obviously, you can't be
hold on.
Right.
Hold on. As two ethnically diverse individuals, is she saying that we can't submit an ID? Because what? To vote? How did you get your bank account? How did you register your child for school? How are you driving your vehicle? Get out of here with that crap.
And then she's saying that it purposely draws her out of her district and she's going to have to actually campaign. Good luck. Good luck. I hope you lose.
District that is. Another person we love to hear what they have to say is Stephen Miller, as he speaks on behalf of the Trump administration, really talking about the Russia collusion hoax that we've been reporting on. We always think, okay, do something. We want to see people arrested, but then is there a statute of limitations? He's going to say specifically, he's going to answer that question. Take a listen.
Hour and the moment for accountability so that we can reclaim this democracy, Maria.
Well, do you believe we will actually get accountability? We've been demanding accountability now for a decade. Our audience is well aware that this is the biggest political scandal we have ever seen, and an effort to undermine and take down a duly elected president. But now we want to see the tricksters face the consequences. Will they?
I have complete confidence in the Department of Justice to follow these facts, to follow this new, further avalanche of evidence, and to take all the necessary legal steps to ensure that the wrongdoers, the coup plotters, the schemers, and the insurrectionists are held fully accountable under the laws and Constitution of these United States. Yes, Maria, I believe that.
Now, last weekend, John Ratcliffe, CIA director, who is a
So I like to see somebody from the Trump administration really doubling down on the fact that, yes, you're going to see people held accountable. We can just rush through this. Kash Patel had this to post over the weekend. Let's take a quick look at it. See if we can pull that up there. Kash Patel's, I don't want to say tweet, it's an ex post. He basically said that he proved the Steele dossier was fictional back in 2017 and 2018. This is why, Allie, they didn't want to see someone like Kash Patel come in as an FBI director. He said he's the one that uncovered the hidden rooms with the Pern bags that hid a lot of these Russiagate files. He's saying maybe this FBI will release more documents directly. I think that's a wink, wink, nod because he is that FBI. And he's calling on depriving the fake news of more bogus Pulitzer Prizes because really they helped propagate this hoax, Allie.
Well, yes, and hopefully they will also be held accountable for their actions. We're just waiting.
We're anxiously waiting, which is hard to do, not just as women, but as Americans, to be patient for that. Here's some good news.
Women, there's no patience.
There's no patience.
Like, hurry up. It's like 1 minute, we're like, hey, puppy, can you take the trash out? And then a minute later, 1 minute later, and you're like, thank you so much. I can depend on you for doing everything I asked you to do. Thank you. I appreciate that as you take the trash out on your own because you have no patience.
No patience. But the disgraced former FBI director, Christopher Wray, has been criminally referred to the DOJ. Take a look at this. So this is just one of the dominoes. Exciting. Again, criminal referrals then require investigation, which is something that, let's be honest, they should have done the first time when they got this information in the intelligence community. They knew it was bogus information. Can we talk real quickly? I know because we're We're running out of time. I want to talk about James Fishback because we had the ability to interview him in Tampa at Turning Point USA.
Great interview, by the way.
Take
So
a look
good.
at this. I know. Go to our website, guys, under the events page. You'll be able to see that interview there. He's talking here about how he used to trade hedge funds, and that the Federal Reserve would ask him many times, what is the pulse of what's taking place in the economy? What are you hearing, sir? And he's asking here in this post, hey, when's the last time the Federal Reserve asked middle-class America about their job as far as what they're doing by setting interest rates? Has anybody ever called you, America? I mean, you know they have your number. You know they have your address because they send you.
I mean, thanks, Patriot Act. You have literally all of our information and our text messages and the images that we've sent to each other. Guys, you even have open access to Chat GPT, okay?
Yep.
You guys literally know everything about every person on this planet. Knock it off.
And yet they're not asking you about, I don't know,
Anything
how are the interest rates affecting you, middle-class America?
Affecting you.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump knows, clearly, because he's got an ear to the ground.
Here is James Fishback on the Ingram angle talking about Jerome, the head of the Federal Reserve, lying. Let's take a listen.
Is he can actually appoint a Fed chair a lot sooner than everyone expects. Now, markets, as an investor, they are an expectations game. And so when you get a Fed chair, even if they don't take office until May of next year, if you appoint a Fed chair in the early fall, the market will listen to them as opposed to Jerome Powell. This is the same Jerome Powell, Laura, that cut rates by 50 points right before the election in a desperate attempt to Kamala Harris to help her. Of course, it didn't work. President Trump won in a historic landslide, but now he refuses to raise rates, even though inflation is lower today than it was then. And so the president is using his First Amendment rights. He's calling out the Fed chair for being intransigent, for being too late. But my recommendation to the president would be appoint a Fed chair far earlier than anyone expects, so too late's voice can be totally nullified.
I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. Thank you, James, for putting in your 2 cents for what they're worth about this issue. Maybe there is a future for you as Fed chair.
I would
Who
champion
knows?
that.
I would.
I would champion
too.
that
I mean,
all
he's
day long.
pretty smart.
So they call him, of course, Jerome Too Late Powell. But
I think his positioning on him lowering interest rates for 50% for Kamala before the election kind of really, and him refusing to do it now, shows exactly where his political affiliations lie and how he's utilizing that sitting in his position.
And it's, so again, it's just like, you know, the health department. It's not supposed to be politicized, those certain factions. But take a look at this. You want to get your blood boiling today. Take a look at these. This is a list. This is going to be a quick bite, soundbite from Caroline Leavitt. She is the press secretary for the White House. But I'm read to you first. These are the countries that are paying lower interest rates than you and I. Actually, let's let her read it.
Out the world. At the top is Switzerland. They're only paying a quarter for interest rates. Cambodia, Japan, Denmark, Thailand, Botswana, Barbados, Taiwan, Bulgaria, Cuba, Sweden, Morocco, Cabo Verde, South Korea, Algeria, Canada, Albania, Libya, Malaysia, China, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Czechia, Bolivia, Australia, Costa Rica, the Bahamas, Kuwait, Papua New Guinea, Bosnia, United Kingdom, and the UAE are all paying lower interest rates than the United States of America, which has one of the hottest and strongest economies in the world. The president sent this note to the Fed chair. It says, Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the USA a fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rate by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being lost and there is no inflation. And the president is right. There is historically low inflation thanks to his policies. And we will continue.
Wow. Wow. I'm like stuck on Botswana. Like, really? How many of you know where Botswana is? Are we for real right now?
I mean, we're going to move there now because they got lower interest rates.
China?
Jeez,
Well,
China.
I can't.
Look.
I'm fired Jerome Powell.
Jerome Too Late Powell. Never
There's
too
this-
late to say bye to a Jerome Powell. I love it when CNN has to eat a little bit of crow while they're around. I mean, I don't really know how much longer they're going to be around. Their numbers are tanking as we speak, firing people right and left, downsizing bigly, huge. But CNN stuns the world on this soundbite saying Trump is the most influential president. Let's take a listen.
the Donald Trump administration is arguably the most influential this century and probably as well dating back a good portion of the last century as well. Love it, like it, lump it. Trump is remaking in the United States of America. Let's talk about tariffs first, right? There's all this talk that Donald Trump always chickens out when it comes to tariffs. No tacos for Trump. The effective tariff rate, get this, it's 18%, the highest since the FDR administration in the 1930s, up from, get this, just 2% last year. From just 2% last year, we're talking about a level, an effective tariff rate level, get this, 9 times as high this year than last year. But it's not just on tariffs, which of course Donald Trump ran on, in which you're seeing a tremendously influential presidency. What about immigration? Of course, Trump ran and has always run on a very hawkish immigration platform. Get this, 2025 net migration in the United States down at least 60% from last year. In fact, we may be heading for the first time in at least 50 years in which we have net negative migration into the United States. And last year, of course, in 2024, the net migration in the U.S. was 2.8 million. This year, we might be talking about negative net migration. My goodness gracious. Now, of course, this is part of a larger story, as I was mentioning. We're talking about immigration, net migration. We're talking about the effective tariff rate. But get this, how is Donald Trump doing it? Well, he is signing a ton of executive orders. Get this, 180, the most in a year since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Oh my goodness, you got.
He didn't even say the best part, that he's the best president we've had to date. Excuse me. The reason why he's signing all of these executive orders is amazing. Yes. But why, when we have leadership, right? Both in the House and the Senate, we have a stronghold. Why the hell are the executive orders not codified into law? What are y'all doing? And then you take a whole month of what? A hiatus to go back to campaign in your districts. Nobody wants to see you at home. They want to see you up in DC doing your job. Yes. Because while you were up there, none of you did your damn job. Y'all all placated. Every single one of you were handled, except for maybe a handful, maybe two, maybe three, a couple, three, maybe three.
Yeah, this is good news. So Trump is going to go down in history, hopefully, as exactly that, very influential. But how will we judge the House and Senate, which we hold right now as America First, technically?
Who can't?
Which is why we are airing what we did in the very beginning of this show. How important it is, even for our young people, to understand you do not have to placate to a base that is more of a uniparty establishment. Young Republicans, it is okay for you to have your own voice and your own inner gut that tells you what's right and what's wrong, and that you don't have to kiss a brass ring to get involved in politics.
You don't have to be anointed by the establishment leadership in order for you to do something or say something or push initiatives or push America First policy forward. You make those phone calls. You gather around in your neighborhood. You knock doors. You send out postcards. You do the work, and everything else will follow. I promise. If not you, then who? If not right now, then when?
Absolutely.
America needs you. If we keep continuing to placate to those that think that they're in power only because we give them that authority, we will lose America.
Allie, not on our dime and not on our watch. Nope. Guys, are you ready for a little laughter?
Of course.
So I remember. Do you remember where you were, if you were alive then? Because I know our audience could be a little bit younger too. Do you remember where you were when O.J. Simpson was in that white Bronco and he was like blazing down the interstate in California? And it's funny now because it's an infamous thing. It wasn't that. So somebody had to take the white Bronco with all of the Russia hoax and Russia collusion stuff going on. Take a look at this, Allie. It's the white Bronco. It's the white Bronco with Hillary and Bill. But look who's in the first squad car. That is Trump.
President Trump and Shady Vance in the next one. Oh my goodness. I love this.
But unlike the O.J. Simpson case where we did not really see justice play out, we want to see justice play out in this. So
I've actually seen one with former President Obama, also known as the traitor, in the same white Bronco with that. It's hilarious. It actually like moves. It's great. I love it.
Right. Wow.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's the best.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of your impersonation, which she does great Trump impersonations, but
it's all right.
Did you see there was a post the other day, I think it was Sunday, that they're going to take away possibly, of course, this is a joke, waterboarding. And instead, the interrogation technique is going to be Kamala Harris reading the book.
Yes, please. Yes, please make that happen.
Nobody wants to sit through that.
That is hilarious. Oh,
Oh gosh, Allie. Well, that's just about it for us here today, guys. We're grateful that you joined in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe and comment. Let's just double check the comments here before we head off. We had some what do you call it? AI comments.
Last time, yeah, that was a little weird. Yeah,
kind of flooded our feed. But
guys, don't forget to be the sharpest tip of the spear in your circle of influence. The reason why DC got so swampy is because of situations that occur in your own backyard. Just take, for example, our top of the hour interview with Michael Casey and Kevin Smith, who attended the YR event, the Young Republicans Convention in Nashville. It is up to us. It's up to us. No one's coming to save us. There are no reinforcements. There's just us.
Absolutely. And just like you heard with Aaron Lee, another one of our guests who's fighting just for something simple like parental rights and transparency. They are God-given. You don't owe that to the government. This only happens, guys. This kind of common sense rule in your neck of the woods, it only happens if you get involved.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to get involved at your local school board level or county commission level. Guys, make sure you visit us at Real Allie Leger, at Michelle Posey, and at Open Mic Ladies on all platforms, plus openmicladies.com. Click on our events tab. You can see all of our interviews from Turning Point USA's Summit.
Email us
student
questions. Let us know what you think.
Email us at openmicladies at contact at openmicladies.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, have a great night. See you.
Red hat stays on. Red hat stays on. What do you do when the gas is high? Inflation's up in the sky. Red hat stays on. Red hat stays on. And I don't care how they look at me in the deepest heart of a blue city. Red hat stays on. Red hat stays on. And I know when you smile, you like what you see. If you love America, you'll agree. Red hat stays on. Red hat stays on.
Did you ever wonder what happened to the Drudge Report? During the 2016 presidential election, Matt Drudge was one of President Trump's most vehement, adamant supporters. He was promoting Donald Trump really since the escalator, okay? And he remained steadfast. He and his site remained steadfast throughout the primaries. They ripping on Ted Cruz, ripping on John Kasich, ripping on everybody, and focusing on getting President Trump the nomination. Of course, after he got the nomination and then won the general election, Matt Drudge and the Drudge Report remained fairly true to President Trump, but things started changing pretty quickly. And all of a sudden, we started seeing a rapid shift from being pro-Trump to being very vehemently anti-Trump. Now, prior to this, there was a lot of speculation because there seemed to be a lot of Bernie love, oddly enough, didn't seem to fit for a pro-Trump site. Now, there have been a lot of theories, and I'm going to share mine with you. Let's go through some of the ones that are most popular. Some say that Matt sold the site, that he's no longer involved with Drudge Report. Others say that he's involved, but that the site was owned or is now owned by the Chinese Communist Party or some members of the globalist elite cabal or the deep state or the Democrats or whoever. I've heard those rumors as well. My theory, and there are others, to be fair, my theory, which is based upon nothing but speculation, is that from the very beginning, Matt Drudge has always been a progressive. He's always been a leftist. And you could see this even before the 2016 election. I think you could see hints of this throughout. And what happened was he had found his niche decades ago. He found a very high quality money-making niche within conservative media, and he stuck with it. And it built him power, it built him a whole lot of money. And he thought, I'm going to play conservative. He hired some great conservatives like Andrew Breitbart and the like. But I think that after the 2016 election, after President Trump won, and after he started getting blamed, quote unquote, blamed by legacy media, the Washington Post was talking about it. A lot of people were saying how really the Drudge Report was one of the biggest reasons that President Trump won. I think that Drudge had been living a lie the entire time and decided, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I made enough money. Let's go ahead and shift over and show my true colors as a Bernie bro. And I think that's what happened. I could be wrong. But either way, it doesn't matter. The reason I bring it up is because Patriot.tv is more than just a place for shows. We are turning it into essentially a Drudge alternative, a place where you can see content from multiple sources available right there for you to browse and get a true conservative perspective. So check it out. Go to patriot.tv. That's patriot.tv and see what we're doing today.